Finally, after more than a year, Ross Chastain, the new and improved Ross Chastain, wins a NASCAR Cup Series race. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I'm coming to you from Nashville Super Speedway, the pit road exit. I'm kind of like straddling the pit wall like a horse. Yippee-ki-yay. I'm gonna give y'all my immediate, in the moment, honest reactions review of tonight's event, the third annual Ally 400. I think they have one more year left on the original contract they signed. And on that note, I've become a big fan of this racetrack. I'm not sure if this is even really a debate anymore, but Nashville Super Speedway is more than worthy of hosting a NASCAR Cup Series weekend. They solved most of the traffic issues from year one. Now maybe they just need to, add safer barrier walls all the way around, like every other NASCAR oval for the most part has. But assuming they can make that one easy change, this is a great racetrack, worthy of a Cup Series date, at least until Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway hopefully gets renovated. Then we may have to have some difficult conversations. But for the time being, the Ally 400 at Nashville Super Speedway is here. It happened. Let's start, I guess we'll start with Ross Chastain and Trackhouse more broadly. Big weekend for Ross Chastain. Yesterday, he wins the pole, which I believe was Trackhouse's first pole award in their young NASCAR career. He wins the race tonight, his first Cup Series win in over a year. Huge points night as well. He's still in the running for the regular season championship. And like Frank Sinatra, he did it his way. We saw glimpses of the, can we say the old Ross Chastain, the pre-Justin Marks talk Ross Chastain, the pre-Darlington Ross Chastain, like late in this race. He's getting slowed up, held up by lap traffic. Truex is closing in. Truex was better than him on the short run all night. Oh no, he could lose the lead. What does Ross do? He splits lap traffic, middle three wide. And that's a point late in the race. Second place is bearing down on you. That's when you're supposed to be aggressive. I had no issue with that move. Ross, because he's incredibly talented, made it work, got by Almirola and JJ Yaley, stuck Truex behind all these lappers, put him in the dirty air. That locked this race up. So sometimes aggression does pay off. But the problem with Ross Chastain all these years is he often pushes too hard too early. He's not selective. You can't race at 110% from start to finish, not in a 400-mile race like a NASCAR Cup Series race. Ross Chastain showed glimpses of the new Ross Chastain, if you will. He was patient at times. He let his car come to him. He had a better long-run car than the two Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, the second to last run of the race. And while Hamlin and Truex used their stuff up, battling each other, Truex trying to make that pass for, 40, 50, 60 laps, Ross saved his stuff, made a push at the very end of that fuel run, and blew by both of them like they weren't even there. Darian sneaking into the background, that little troll. Where was I? I do apologize for the wind that may or may not be affecting the microphone. Obviously, you got a helicopter flying overhead. Folks are tearing things down. You got, I don't know if you can see it, but just back there is Ross Chastain's winning team's pit box. Anyway, where was I? Ross Chastain. Earlier in the weekend, he was kind of trying to downplay the whole conversation he and Justin Marks had a few weeks ago after he crashed at Darlington. Because since that crash at Darlington, I think everyone had noticed that both Trackhouse and Ross Chastain specifically had shown less speed. Chastain went from running top 5 and contending for wins every week to running like 15th, or he had a couple of 20th or worse finishes in a row. Really wasn't a factor, did not quite look like himself. I said that it was largely just Trackhouse didn't have the same speed they'd had at the beginning of the year, but maybe you can make an argument that Ross Chastain's philosophy had been changed and the edge that had made him so good, so exciting, now that had been reined in, it was affecting his performance. You could make that argument, but both Ross Chastain and Justin Marks this weekend before tonight's race were trying to downplay that. Hey, no, Ross, he's still as passionate, as talented, as aggressive as ever. We haven't changed him. We didn't tell him to rein anything in or hold back. They tried to downplay it all weekend, but let me get back on track. It was sort of a feast or famine night for Trackhouse, weekend for Trackhouse, because if you ask me, they easily could have finished 1-2. Daniel Suarez looked like he was going to sit on the provisional pole in qualifying when during his final run he spun out and didn't keep it clean, ended up hitting the outside wall, wound up going to a backup car, which I know he was very disappointed about because he knew how much speed the primary had. Second race in a row where Daniel Suarez had a great chance to win. We were at Sonoma 2 weeks ago where he won a year ago, but early in that race messed up, missed a shift, lost all of his track position, never recovered, and then this weekend had a chance to start on the front row, got just a little too greedy, car snapped loose on him, he wrecks his primary, starts at the rear tonight, and it was difficult to pass. I think he got back up into the top 10, we'll look at the top finishers in a moment, but if the backup had top 10 speed and was able to gain all that track position, imagine what the primary could have done if Suarez had gotten to start in the top 5. So great night, great weekend for Chastain. Daniel Suarez just did not go well, and to add insult to injury, or embarrassment to injury, he was trying to celebrate, I think, with Ross on the cooldown lap and wrecked himself off the nose of Chase Briscoe. Ugh, brutal. At least I assume that's what happened. I haven't seen the official replay. I just caught it on the big screen when it happened. Congratulations to Ross Chastain. I never doubted his raw talent. I only ever questioned his ability to race smarter, not harder all the time. Great job by Ross Chastain tonight. I used the word brutal a moment ago. I think that same word could be used to describe the crash Ryan Blaney had. It's just in the corner of my eye over there where he hit that inside wall with no safer barrier. Obviously, he was checked and released from the infield care center, but I hope he's okay, because that was one of the nastiest hits I have seen. NASCAR has made some changes to the front clip recently, but those changes will not be implemented until July, I think until the Atlanta race. So the front noses still aren't quite as soft as they should be. I hope Ryan Blaney is okay. We saw Noah Gragson, of course, have to miss a race due to a head injury suffered in a hard crash. He was back tonight, which was great to see. Fairly short recovery. Really hope Ryan Blaney is okay, though. I'm holding my breath all week long. Dude's had a fantastic season, been very consistent in the regular season championship hunt. I'd hate to see him miss time this season. I'm trying to get the finishing results to load, but apparently I still have no service, even though like everyone's gone home. Thank you, AT&T. I'll go ahead and put the finishing results right here for your sake, but I'm going off memory. I know Joe Gibbs Racing had a great night. Truex, maybe the hottest driver in NASCAR right now, fresh off that win at Sonoma, had another top 5 effort this evening. Denny Hamlin, I believe, had a top 5. I think Christopher Bell and Ty Gibbs both finished top 10. Great runs for them. Their Toyota teammate Tyler Reddick was let down by his pit crew, unfortunately. He had a top 5 car, maybe one that could have contended for the win. Reddick and his teammate Bubba Wallace were fast in qualifying. Reddick's team left a wheel nut loose during a cycle of green flag pit stops, causing him to spin out over by pit entry. He fell 2 laps down, and tonight I think that may have been the only natural caution, so he never had a chance to make that time up. Also, dragging the underbody across pit road probably did some damage as well. I want to talk about Kyle Busch for a moment. He had a flat tire in stage 1. Bad luck. I guess he ran over some debris, had to pit out of sequence, but managed to stretch that fuel run in stage 1 to not only stay on the lead lap, make it to the caution, but he actually got stage points. So round of applause. Great effort by Kyle Busch on the track, but then coming onto pit road, like we've seen many other times this year, he was bit by a speeding penalty. I don't know what the issue is at this point. Is the team like just setting his attack up wrong? I don't know. At this point, I think it's just Kyle Busch being careless. I have to believe that at this point. He has to lead the series in speeding penalties this year. It's like a scheduled tweet at this point. Kyle Busch sped on pit road. Thanks, Bob. Not again. But that being said, Kyle Busch, because when he's motivated, when he's mad, Kyle Busch often drives best when he's angry. He was able to race his way back up into contention until he was spun on a restart after Brad Keselowski just didn't go. I guess he missed a shift after kind of getting bumped from behind a little bit. I guess that was also a natural caution. But Kyle Busch lost all his track position once again. I don't know where he finished. I'm not sure if he got a top 15, but Kyle Busch was another driver like Reddick who maybe could have finished inside the top 10 if they hadn't made mistakes, either driver or the team. I'm trying to see the scoring pylon back there. I think it said Chase Elliott got a top 5. Good for him. Best Hendrick car tonight. This was one of his better races. He's really had 2 good races in a row, Sonoma and now Nashville tonight, where I think he's knocking on the door. He's getting closer to having winning speed. I don't know that he led a lap tonight, aside from maybe a pit road sequence, but he's getting closer. He's getting closer. Probably collected a lot of points. Could help his effort pointing his way in if he can't get a win. Larson and Byron finished right behind him, so Hendrick, good, very good. They'd won the last 2 Nashville Superspeedway races, but not as good as the Toyotas or Ross Chastain even tonight. So, maybe back to the drawing board. Hendrick not looking as invincible as they did at the very beginning of this season. Oh, I wanted to mention Kevin Harvick. Was running top 5, was actually closing in on that trio of Chastain, Truex, and Hamlin when fluky flat tire, similar to what bit Kyle Busch early in stage 1. Harvick unfortunately never had time to recover from this, so that stinks. I don't think he was gonna win this race, but like Chastain, he seemed to have a good long run car. This race ended on a couple of long green runs, so who knows? Perhaps Harvick would have been a contender if that flat tire didn't fail on him. Those are the main notes I had. I also want to mention at the end of stage 1, things got interesting when Noah Gragson held up Ross Chastain, allowing Tyler Reddick to get by and win that stage. I already know some people are gonna hate that, you know, oh, that's textbook race manipulation. He's not going 100%, but you know, to me, that's good, harmless, fair retaliation. Gragson has not liked the way Ross has raced him a couple times earlier in the season, so you know, early in a race, didn't run into him, didn't bump him, didn't right hook him, anything like that, just raced him really aggressively, drove in tight on his door, got him loose, got him sideways, and you know, cost him a stage win, cost him a playoff point. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that. I know fans don't like it when drivers slow other drivers up out of retaliation, but I've never really had a problem with it. It's one of the cleanest ways to get your revenge, so I don't know, I really don't have that big an issue with it. Those were your top finishers. Again, I hope the audio is okay, and I apologize that I'm not as well prepared as usual. I think they even, oh no, the scoring pylon's still turned on. But I don't have internet out here. I'm sitting in the dark, unfortunately, literally and figuratively. But I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Let's put this race on the groovy gauge. Being at the racetrack warps my perspective a bit. I caught glimpses of NBC's first Cup broadcast of the season. I love some of the split screen they went with. Seemed to show a lot more battles from 5th, 10th on back, which was a nice change of pace. I don't know how the commercials timed out, considering there were a lot of green flag runs. I worry that may have been a problem, but I mean, let me know in the comments. What did you make of NBC? Dale Jr., Rick Allen, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton in the booth, everyone up and down pit road. Was it good? Was it a breath of fresh air, or were there things they can still improve on? It was their first Cup broadcast of the season. But being here at the racetrack, I'm gonna give this race an 85%. I thought it was really good. I was talking with fans before the race that, hey, this has the potential to be race of the year. We look at, you know, Kansas, the Coke 600, some really good intermediate races. This is basically an intermediate track. It's not quite a mile and a half, but it's close. It's multi-groove, concrete. That surface is an added variable, the day to night transition. Last year's race, despite all the rain delays, I thought was really fun to watch from high above in the grandstands. This year I watched from partially the media center on TV, also just on pit road using the big screens and things for reference. And I thought the action was still really, really good. Maybe not quite as good as I remember last year, but still really good. 85% for me, considering this race had very few restarts, a lot of long green flag runs. It was difficult to pass the leader. This was a fantastic race. I really don't have many complaints. Let me know what you thought of tonight's Ally 400 down in the comment section below. I believe that's going to do it. I feel like there's something in the back of my brain that's nagging at me that I'm forgetting to talk about. Shout out to Justin Haley, 3rd place qualifying effort. I briefly spoke to him before the race today. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to give you a shout out for that. That was impressive. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, y'all. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you're new and you love NASCAR, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We do these types of videos every single week. We talk throughout the week, throughout the year, off season. We talk about NASCAR all the time here on Out of the Groove. Thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. I'll be back home in a couple days. I will see you again then. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, folks. Take it easy.